If you've made it this far, it's because some part of you feels that the cycle is turning, that the silence is about to break. That soul, which never truly left yours, is slowly starting to come closer again, invisibly, spiritually, inevitably. There are signs that the heart recognizes even before the mind understands, and no matter how much you try to rationalize, deny, or occupy your mind with other things, there's something that pulses stronger, a presence, a vivid memory, a connection that resurfaces without warning, as if the universe is whispering, "Get ready." He is feeling it too. No, you are not crazy. You are not dreaming alone. It's not attachment. It's not need. It's something greater. Greater than names, greater than fears, even greater than time. Because soul love doesn't disappear. It transforms. It recedes, matures, recalibrates, but it doesn't break. It never breaks. There are days when its absence screams louder than any presence. You feel it in your chest, in your body, in the subtext of your routine. A longing that has no explanation, only existence. An intuition that insists on saying, "He is thinking of you too. He feels it too." But the ego silences. The ego pretends it has forgotten, that it has moved on, that it has overcome. But the heart does not lie, neither yours nor his. If this message has begun to touch your heart, if something inside you recognizes this vibration, then subscribe to the channel now. Because this is not about content. It's about rescue, about reunion, about awakening. Here, every word is a mirror, a call, a reminder of who you are, and of who he has always been to you. Today, we will dive into the mystery surrounding soul reconnections, because there are moments when the universe starts to stitch the invisible together. Signs emerge, dreams reappear, energies intensify, the soul feels, the body senses, and life begins to align everything for the reunion to happen. At the right time, in the right way, at the right frequency. But is he really ready? Is this reunion just a desire of yours, or a call from him too? What changes when the twin flame awakens? And how to know if it's time to open the heart or protect the soul? Not everything will be said at once, because the mystery of the soul reveals itself in layers. But today, let's open the first door, and it has already begun to open inside you. Have you ever felt as if something inside you was about to change, but you didn't know exactly what? As if the air were denser, as if dreams were more vivid, as if the heart were preparing for something the mind still can't explain? This is the energy of reunion approaching, and it doesn't come with dates or guarantees. It comes with signs, vibrations, silent omens that only those with an awakened soul can perceive. You feel he is closer, even if the eyes can't see yet, even if the last message was months ago, even if reason tries to convince you that it's time to forget. There is something that doesn't forget, because it's not memory, it's a living connection. It's as if the bond between you never really broke, just lay dormant, waiting for the right moment to start pulsing strongly again. But until then, what to do with this absence? With this time that feels like punishment? With this longing that comes out of nowhere and floods everything? You try to move on, occupy your mind, fill your schedule, seek other connections, other distractions, but the heart doesn't deceive. It knows the difference between presence and distraction, between soul love and empty company. It recognizes the vibration of those who touched it deeply, and it wasn't by chance. You miss something you can't explain. And this is precisely where the twin flame journey reveals itself most intensely, when there is nothing outside to sustain what pulses inside. The longing hurts, but what hurts more is the doubt. Does he feel the same? Does he still think of you, even in silence? Or was that intense connection just in your head? You wonder what happened between that look that said everything, and this silence that seems to deny even the past. How can someone feel so much, and then act as if nothing ever existed? How can such a strong connection simply fade away? But the truth is, it hasn't faded. It has hidden, because soul love doesn't die. It recedes when the ego isn't ready. It hides to avoid being destroyed by immaturity, by fear, by escape. And that's what you are living now. The interval between connection and reunion. The pause where everything seems lost, but in fact is being reorganized. You feel it, because the soul feels before life shows it. And you notice the signs, even when you try to ignore them. Recurring dreams, strange synchronicities, a number that insists on appearing, a song that plays the moment you think of him, a chill for no reason, a feeling of presence when you are alone. All of this is the universe's way of saying, get ready. He is returning to himself, and when that happens, he will return to you too. But the mind doubts, the ego screams, logic tries to protect you, and it's in this conflict that you live now, between faith in the connection and fear of illusion. Does he think of you when the city falls silent? Does he miss you, even in silence? Can true love really withstand time, pride, distance? Or was it all just an intense encounter that wasn't meant to last? The soul knows the answer, but it only speaks in silence, in stillness, when you stop searching outside and start listening within. Because not everything that seems like an end is an end. Sometimes it's just the universe clearing the path for a new beginning, a more mature beginning, more conscious, more true, where there are no more games, no masks, no escapes, just presence, just truth, just love. The pain of abandonment is not just in their absence. It's in the echo that remains inside you, in the spaces they occupied, and that now seem too empty. It's in the questions that come back every night, in the absence of answers, in the whys that no one can explain. But the universe can. It sees what your eyes cannot perceive. It feels what the heart still tries to deny. Yes, that connection you live or lived is real. It was not an illusion, nor a fantasy of yours. It was a spiritual activation, a meeting of souls that recognized each other long before this life. But when two twin flames meet, they are not always ready to sustain themselves. And that's where the true conflict begins. Not between you and them, but between the love of the soul and the resistances of the ego. You felt them in a way no one else did. You touched places in them that they themselves were unaware of. And this, as magical as it seems, is frightening. Because when a twin flame appears, it lays bare everything. The wounds, the traumas, the oldest fears, and also the purest love. And those who are not ready to see themselves fully, flee. Those who are not ready to heal, distance themselves. And that's what happened. Their soul felt you, but the ego withdrew. And perhaps even now, they are fighting against what they feel, creating excuses, hiding in other paths, pretending it was nothing, all to avoid diving into what you awakened in them, because feeling you is too strong. You activate them, you reveal them, and perhaps you have tried everything, tried to understand, to forgive, to accept, tried to explain yourself, to insist, to restart, but there comes a time when everything gets tiring. Because to love is not to drag oneself. To love is not to wait for someone who doesn't know if they will come. And yet, you can't help but love, because it's not a common love. It's a love of the soul, and the love of the soul does not disappear. It changes form, but it remains there, in silence, sustaining everything that you have yet to experience together. You want answers, but the universe does not respond with words. It responds with energy. And sometimes, what seems like silence is just a call inward, an invitation for you to stop seeking them and start seeking yourself. What do they mirror in you? What parts of you are still waiting for healing? What need still screams inside you, thinking that only they can fill it? The journey of twin flames is never just about the other. It's about you, about your healing, about reconnecting with your essence. Because when two souls meet, it's to mirror each other, not to complete each other. You are already whole, but you need to remember that. Human love wants security. Soul love wants truth, and the truth sometimes hurts. It shows what is misaligned. It takes away the ground. It deconstructs everything, but it also makes space for reconstruction, for a love that does not need control nor certainties, just presence. They feel it, even if they deny it, even if they are far away. Their soul feels yours, but they need to be ready. And that readiness does not happen in haste. It happens with pain, with silence, with maturity. And that's what is happening now. The universe is putting you face to face with your own shadows, so that when the reunion happens, it's no longer escape, it's surrender. So, if any part of this message is resonating with you, write it here, comment, say what your soul is trying to express, because when you write, you anchor. You transform the invisible into vibration, and that vibration returns to them too, because everything that is born from the soul reaches where it needs to go. Their silence is not the end. Sometimes it's your beginning, the beginning of your healing, the exact point where the universe calls you back to itself, because every absence carries a hidden mission to teach you to return home, and that home is you. Have you ever gone through nights when tears came without explanation? Days when your heart felt heavy, even with nothing wrong happening? Moments when everything seemed still on the outside, but inside, a subtle storm shook your soul? This is not weakness. This is the call. It's the universe saying, look within. They are distant, because you also distanced yourself from yourself. The journey of the twin flame often leads us to love the other with such intensity that we forget to love ourselves. We give our hearts completely, but leave pieces of ourselves along the way. And now it's time to gather those pieces, because before they return, you need to return to yourself. Before any message arrives, you need to listen to yourself. How many times have you tried to fit into their expectations, their uncertainties, their silences, and lost yourself? How many times did you hold back from saying what you felt, out of fear of seeming too fragile? How many times did you stay silent, waiting for them to notice? But now, it's time to say yes to yourself, to sit in silence with your own soul and ask, what do I need to heal? What am I still waiting to receive from them? But in reality, I can give to myself. This pause is not punishment, it's protection. It's divine care, because the reunion can only happen when both are ready to sustain what they feel. No games, no escapes, no projections, just soul with soul. And you, at this very moment, are being called for this realignment, for this reconnection with your axis, to look at the pain, yes, but without identifying with it, to embrace the longing, but without drowning in it. To take a deep breath and remember, I am whole, and nothing outside of me defines what pulses within. You don't need to wait for him to validate you. True love does not depend on reciprocation. It flourishes from within. It vibrates. It illuminates. It heals. And when you ignite this light within yourself, everything around you begins to transform. Have you noticed how some things have simply drifted away from your life? People, situations, places that no longer made sense? This is also part of the process. The universe is clearing the field, removing what no longer serves, to make space for what truly belongs to you. And sometimes, yes, this includes distancing from him, but not as a punishment, as refinement. Because if he is indeed your twin flame, he is feeling it. He is going through processes you can't even imagine, perhaps in silence, perhaps denying, perhaps trying to follow another path, but deep down, something pulls him back, and that something is the frequency of your soul when it is whole, firm, awake. That's why now is the time for surrender, but not that surrender that expects something in return. It is the surrender that trusts, that releases control without letting go of the feeling, that stops chasing and starts walking with itself. Because the true reunion happens first within. When your masculine and feminine parts embrace, when your own heart stops abandoning itself, you don't need to prove yourself to him. You don't need to shout that you feel. He knows, even if he can't explain it, even if he is still trapped in pride, fear, the stories of the past. He knows. His soul recognizes you, and this memory is eternal. But while he is still finding himself, how about you find yourself too? This is the moment to listen to yourself, to honor your intuition, to trust your own light. The time of waiting is over. Now is the time for presence, for reconstruction, for reconnection with everything that makes you vibrate, with your faith, with your purpose, with your essence. And that's where the magic happens. Because when you return to yourself, everything around you changes form. Pain turns into wisdom. Silence turns into answers. Absence turns into impulse. And longing turns into strength. Feel this. Breathe with it. Because the reunion is closer than you think. But it starts within you. You are not the part that waits. You are the part that awakens. That opens its eyes in the middle of the night with a pounding heart, feeling that something is changing, even if nothing has changed outside yet, because those who have their souls connected feel it first. They sense it. They vibrate along with the invisible, and the invisible is moving. At this very moment, something inside him is also starting to stir. The same longing that sometimes suffocates you begins to beat in his chest like a breeze that bothers him, as if, suddenly, he is being pulled into a memory that never faded, a smell, a touch, a sound, a memory that returns strongly and makes him realize that no matter how much he tried, he couldn't forget you. And do you know why? Because what you lived was not common. It was ancestral. It was energetic. It was spiritual. Your connection was not born in this life. It only reunited here. And even if he has fled, even if he has chosen other paths, even if he has lost himself, the frequency of your soul continues to reverberate within him. Because soul love does not need to be close to be real. It pulses at a distance. It echoes in the invisible. It is a magnet, silent, but irresistible. But you need to understand, the magnetism of your soul does not depend on neediness, nor on waiting. It arises from presence, from awareness, from reconnection with who you are. Because when you return to yourself, he feels it, even from afar, even in silence. He feels it. And this is the great turning point of the journey. The reunion only happens when the awakening is mutual, when the bond ceases to be a wound and becomes strength, when love stops being a search and becomes presence. You are no longer the same. You have crossed deserts, silences, dark nights of the soul. You have experienced the pain of waiting, the anger of absence, the anguish of abandonment. But today, you begin to remember your strength, your worth, your wholeness. You are not half of anyone. You are whole. You always have been. And he will only be able to truly find you again when he is also whole. Because twin flame love is not dependency. It is sovereignty. It is when two awakened souls choose to walk together, not out of lack, but out of resonance, not out of attachment, but out of truth. And your truth is this: you were born to love deeply, but also to be loved with presence, with courage, with reciprocity. So take a deep breath now and feel how everything is aligning, how the universe is pushing you back to the center, how the energy of reunion begins to take shape, first within you. This is the time of return, but not just his return. It is your return, to your light, to your voice, to your spiritual sovereignty. Love has not gone away. It is being reconfigured, refined, prepared, and you are returning to your throne, to the place where he will always find you, in your purest light. Because the true reunion does not start with touch. It starts in the spirit. It begins when you choose not to abandon yourself anymore, when you look in the mirror and say, I am the love he seeks so much. And in that moment, everything changes. Everything vibrates. Everything returns. If this message has reached you, it's not by chance. Because there are moments when the universe whispers softly, and only those with an awakened soul can hear it. Perhaps you are living that exact moment right now. The moment of something is changing, even without explanation. The moment when the heart feels before reality manifests. The moment when the reunion begins to take shape. Not in the eyes, not in the words, but in the vibration of your soul. You have been through a lot. You have fallen. You have hurt. You have lost your way. You have cried silently for whole nights, asking the universe for an answer, a direction, any sign that all of this made sense. You have looked at the sky and asked, why did he come if he was meant to leave? Or, why do I still feel if he is no longer here? But now you begin to feel something different. A silence that no longer hurts like before. A longing that doesn't weigh. It simply remembers. A strength that settles where there was once only emptiness. It's as if the pain is transforming into wisdom. As if his absence has led you to find yourself. And yes, that is exactly what is happening. You are reconnecting with your higher self. You are stepping out of the skin of the wound and entering the light of consciousness. You are remembering that you are soul, that you are energy, that you are vibration, and that everything that is yours finds its way back. But now, this return has a different flavor. It is no longer a return of urgency, of neediness, of desperation for attention. It is an internal return. A turning inward, a reunion with your own light, because you understood, no one truly abandons you. The only real pain is when you abandon yourself. And today, you no longer abandon yourself. You have learned to be with yourself, to honor your cycles, to respect your time, to care for your heart as one cares for a sacred temple, because that is what it is, a temple, where only those who know how to love with presence should enter. Those who know how to remain with truth, those who do not fear the intensity that you carry. You no longer want halves, no games, no silences that hurt, no empty promises. You want reciprocity, eyes meeting eyes, whole presence, a love that supports, that holds your hand even when everything is difficult, that doesn't flee when the soul opens. And yes, your twin flame feels this, even if they haven't returned yet. Even if they are still silent, because this connection does not depend on messages, calls, or likes. It is spiritual, and in the realm of the soul, everything communicates all the time. What you vibrate, they feel. What you heal, they also begin to heal. What you accept, what you transform, what you release, all of this reaches them like a subtle wave, because you are mirrors. You share the same field. You have the same invisible threads, intertwined through time and eternity. But now, it's different, because you are no longer waiting. You are creating. You are vibrating love, but no longer that love that begs. It is the love that exists, that overflows, that is complete, even without an answer, because you discovered you are the love he seeks so much, and that is what changes everything. Because when you stop searching in others for what already pulses within you, you become magnetic, sovereign, untouchable in your light. You stop chasing and start attracting. You stop begging and begin to choose. You stop imploring for crumbs and start vibrating in the abundance of true love. And true love begins in you. Not that inflated love of ready-made phrases or romanticized ideas, but the love that knows how to wait without anxiety, that knows how to let go without giving up, that knows how to honor divine timing even when the mind doesn't understand. You know, that he feels, that he still connects, even if he denies it, that he dreams of you, even if he wakes up pretending to forget, that he carries within his chest a space that only you occupy, even when other names try to fill it. But today, that doesn't matter as much as it did before, because the most important thing is the space you are filling within yourself. And that, yes, is reunion. Reunion with your power, with your light, with your truth. The true reunion does not happen when he returns. It happens when you return to yourself. Because it doesn't matter if he comes, if you are not whole. It doesn't matter if he speaks, if you are still waiting to hear something that only you can say to yourself. It doesn't matter if love knocks on the door, if you haven't made peace with your own soul yet. And now, you are making it. with every tear transformed into strength, with every silence transformed into wisdom, with every longing transformed into presence. You no longer need to search, because what is yours is searching for you too. And if he truly is your twin flame, he will come when the soul is ready, without games, without fear, without masks, because true love doesn't need performance. It only needs truth. If this message spoke to your soul, subscribe now. Like, share, leave your comment here. Not because this is a video, but because this is a mirror, a reflection of your journey, a whisper from the universe saying, "You are on the path. Trust." And tell me, do you feel that there is still something between you two? Or do you feel that you are finally returning completely to yourself? Whatever the answer, it is already within you. And never forget, twin flames do not seek each other. They meet when the soul is ready.